Oh, okay.
There's no bigger pose here. The purpose of this is to post it. All right. So we're going to get started in just a second here. We're going to bring in as many of the New Japan wrestlers as we can over the next hour or two. We're going to start with Okada. We're going to have probably 8 to 10 minutes with each wrestler. So if we can, we want to keep the questions on topic of the G1 and other New Japan storyline related things because we don't have a lot of time there. So if we get too far off track, it's hard to bring it back, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's in the bag under my chair.
Yes.
Oh,
great. So they're going to come use that here. Thank you so much. And then do we want to close the door then so that in here? Everybody in here.
It's probably fine. There's not a lot of settings, right?
I put this on the table. Can I put this on the table?
Yeah, that should be fine.
When you went to California recently, in a previous excursion, you talked about In-N-Out Burger and your experiences. Have you had Whataburger since you've been to Texas? Is there anyone in particular that you think will give you a good challenge in this year's G1?
You can have your question in the previous one.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Do you want me to just ask it again? Oh, okay. When you went to California last year, I believe it might have been Ryan Satin asked you your experiences with In-N-Out Burger in California. And we were wondering if you had tried Whataburger since you've been here in Texas, because that's kind of our staple here.
はい。見えたのは、はい。はい。もう昨日ですね、和田バーガー行きましたし、もう、はい。そのバーガー見て行っちゃいましたね。和田バーガーって。
So I've been to Whataburger yesterday, and I couldn't stop going there. Like, I'm gonna see it.
Thank you.
If you win the G1 Climax 29, will you declare the runner-up as your number one contender for the Tokyo Dome, or will you choose a different opponent? You repeat it?
Yeah.
Oh, if you win the G1 this year, will you declare a runner-up as the number one contender or someone else?
G1 で勝たれたら、
はい
勝者を、
挑戦者そ
勝者を、はい。
まあそうですね、その時の、G1 クライマックスでどうなるかもわからないですし、僕が優勝して選んでいいんであれば、また今回の G1 クライマックスの戦いを見て熱い人を選びたいなと思いますね。
So if I'm in a position to pick opponent, and then I will pick the one who did well in the G1.
Thank you.
Can you compare your excitement for tomorrow with G1 Climax being in Dallas to challenging for the IWGP title in Madison Square Garden? How different is or similar is the excitement?
明日も G1 クライマックス戦、あとはマディソンスクエアガーデンで、IWGP チャンピオンに挑戦した時の、どちらの方が興奮しているかとか、どちらが盛り上がっているかっていうのを
どちらもそれは盛り上がってますね。そのマディソンスクエアガーデンで IWGP のベルトに挑戦っていうのもそうですけど、今回こうやって G1 クライマックスが初めてダラスでというかもう海外でやることが初めてなので、そういう意味ではとてもエキサイトしております。
So he's excited at both levels. I mean, he's excited for the two events at the same level. Since this Dallas opening fight is in Dallas, but especially in overseas, it is the first time, so he's excited about it.
Based on your previous experiences, what do you enjoy most about performing in front of American audiences?
これまでの経験の中で、どんな時に一番アメリカでプロレスを皆さんがやる時にどんなことが一番楽しみにしてますか？
でも今日もありましたけど、すごい岡田コールで迎え入れてくれるというか、またやっぱり日本もそうですし、メキシコも違ってアメリカも応援の仕方が違って、やっぱりこうやって大きな岡田コールで、海外でですね岡田呼ばれることもなかなか不思議な感覚ですし、そうやって海外で岡田と本当大きなコールで呼ばれることはやっぱなんか試合してて一番楽しい時でありますね。
There was an Okada call today too, and he wrestles usually. I wrestle in Japan usually, but when I go to Mexico and US, all the chants are different. But it's so good to be told, but so good to have a chant, Okada call.
You've stated before that bringing the G1 Climax to the U.S. was a dream of yours. Now that you have to face Tanahashi in the opener, do you have any trepidation towards that, or are you excited for the challenge?
So trepidation?
Fear, anxiety.
その G1 を海外にでやるということを前から希望されていて、それが叶ったわけですけども、今回玉井さんと対戦する、それに関してのどう思われますか？それは怖いですか？
やっぱり楽しみですね。本当にもう、G1 での棚橋戦っていうのはもうずっと30分時間切れ引き分けが続いてましたし、やっぱり一回本当にもうシカゴで僕と棚橋さんが向き合ってるだけで「This is awesome」ってちゃんと起きてたんで。本当にもうこの戦いをまたぜひ海外でやりたいなと長いこと思ってやっと今回実現できる戦いなので楽しみです。
I'm very excited. Tanahashi and I have been racing and in the G1 for And then the 30 minutes match has been draw for so many times. And when I faced with Tanahashi in Chicago, just facing with him, and we got the chant that this is awesome. So I'm very excited.
Assuming you win your block, who would you be most excited to face in the final?
このテーブル、はい、あちらがあって、そしたら誰と手配するのが一番楽しみですか？
正直 B ブロックの人があまり誰がいるか分かってない。本当にもう今 A ブロックだけに集中しているので B ブロックが誰がいいかっていうのは分からないぐらいなんですけども、もちろん誰でもいいですし、本当にまずは A ブロックの戦いに集中したいなと思います。
To be honest with you, I don't really know about who is in B block. Rather, I'm really concentrated on A block to win the A block, and I am really okay with anyone to fight against when I win that A block.
This will be our last question.
Only 2 champions have ever won the G1 as IWGP champion. How important is it to your legacy to accomplish this task or feat?
Only 2 champions?
Muto and Sasuke.
Okay, can you repeat the question?
Only 2 champions, 2 IWGP champions have ever won the G1 Climax. How important is it to his legacy to do that as well?
Oh, okay. So, これまでで IWGP チャンピオンで2人だけ一番勝ってますけど、その結果に対してどう思いますか？
本当にチャンピオンのまま G1 を制するというのは本当に、僕もそれはすごい分かっていることなんですけども、すごい難しいことですし、でもその2人しかできてないことが僕にはできないとはとても思えないので、何回も言ってますけども、本当にチャンピオンとして今回も優勝を目指しますし、本当に今回の会見で改めてオスプレイもそうですし、ランスもそうですし、G1 勝って東京ドームでこのベルトだと言ってて、やっぱりみんなが目指しているものがこの最終的に目指しているものはこのベルトなんだなと思って、なので本当にもう何回も言ってますけど、しっかりこのチャンピオンのまま優勝したいなと G1 クライマックス制したいと思います。
So, like you say, it's so difficult to win the G1 as a IWGP champion, but I don't think this is impossible to achieve that. And today's conference, I realized again, and everyone is fighting for this belt. So I would like to win the G1 tournament as a champion.
Thank you.
Arigato.
Thank you. Thank you.
Arigato.
Have a good day. You too. We'll get one. Thank you.
You understand? believe we're gonna have Jay White in here next.
Oh, that's not mine. That's somebody. Anybody? Is ball on anybody? Is ball on you?
Maybe it's Okada's.
Somebody, well, it's in Japanese.
Yeah, it might be his.
日本語で書いてあるんです。
Ah, Master of the Universe.
D4? D4? D4S. Oh, okay, yeah.
Alright, here comes Jay White.
Alright, you had some of my questions are answered already, so don't answer those same ones, right?
My opinion? Yeah, if you'd like to.
Okay, go on.
今回の G1 で内藤選手と最終公式戦で初めてシングル戦おうと思うんですけども、内藤対内藤について。
Could you tell us how you feel about going against Naito for the first time at the end of the official A block tournament?
So Naito will fall under everybody when I said I don't care about, you know, everybody else in this tournament, but I figured I'd have to repeat myself multiple times. Look, Naito, what is he, the Intercontinental Champion now? You know, there was a chance earlier in the year where I thought our paths might cross if he could win the New Japan Cup. He was talking about wanting to be a double champion, and but he was out of that. I think pretty soon, wasn't he? So he failed then. So now he gets another chance to get in the ring with me. Yeah, something that has eluded him. So Naito's always looking for that next thing to make him. He's just not quite there. You know, he's always at the forefront in New Japan. The fans love him, but he's missing something. Maybe what he's missing is just some time in the ring with me to, you know, make his name bigger, make him bigger in the eyes of everybody else. So, how do I feel about it? Look, it's just me making all these guys bigger stars as usual.
Yes, sir. You got more?
どうぞ。
まあ、今までいろんな選手のことはもうどうでもいいと言ってきたんですけれども、内藤選手は今インターコンチネンタルのチャンピオンで、ニュージャパンカップの時も、その可能性があったんだけれども、まあ、俺が、その可能性を潰した。で、まあ、今回またチャンスが来たわけだけれども、内藤選手にチャンスが来たわけだけれども、なんか内藤選手はこう完全にこう 100% じゃないっていうか、なんか欠けてる部分があるような感じがするんだけれども、まあ、それは多分俺と勝負をして、それで、もっとビッグになるそのチャンスっていうのを、まあ、待ってるんじゃないかなと思います。それでまあ、俺とやるやつはいつももっとやって、もっともっとビッグになっていくっていう、まあ、そういうチャンスがあるわけです。
You called America, quote, a cesspit. What do you dislike about this country so much in your time here?
You, for one. I said out there, the fans are so entitled, they think everything's owed to them. And that's always been the case with US-based wrestling fans. So that's why it's a little disappointing that this tournament, you know, it's very historic, however long it's been going for. What's this, the 29th now? Always starting in Japan. And, you know, I'm not too fond of the fans in Japan either, but they have at least a little bit more respect for what we do than the fans over here. So the fact that this tournament is starting here, it's really disappointing. What makes it simple, the people.
Do any of your feelings of negativity towards America come from your failure at Madison Square Garden earlier this year?
You're feeling a little brave there, huh? Because you're in that seat. All right. My failure? Depends how you look at it. Yeah, I lost the belt, but I also single-handedly sold out the world's most famous arena. So is that really a failure? You know, I'll leave it up to you guys to decide for yourselves, because I can see that it's pretty hard to change some of your minds. So it's like arguing with an idiot, isn't it? It's quite pointless.
ジョン・モクスリー選手が G1 初参戦します。元 WWE の、現役バリバリの選手が G1 の時初めてだったんですが、どう思いますか？
Could you give us a comment about how you feel about Jon Moxley, who used to be the champion in WWE, coming into G1?
You didn't listen to anything that I said out there, did you? No. How I feel about Jon Moxley. I have no feelings about him. I have no feelings about this tournament or any of the people there. Sure, I have thoughts. I don't have feelings about it. My thoughts on Jon Moxley. I don't know. Is he trying to beat me? We saw his video. He has the tally marks on the wall. He's playing with his knives as well. Look, if he wanted, I can give him a T-shirt. You know, I understand why he's come out here, because the biggest star is out here. You know, he'd been done with the place that he was at, and then look over at Japan and still working. Look over at Japan and here I am making waves. So he sees that, he wants to get in on that, as everybody else does. Those are my thoughts on Jon Moxley. You know, it's always quite nice as well that for once there's somebody else that's just a little bit closer to me in terms of star power and star quality, because I'm so much further ahead of everybody else that I've been having to wrestle recently. So, you know, that's a nice surprise. It's a nice change to have someone a little bit closer, but even Jon Moxley, I'm still miles ahead of him.
まあ、俺の意見というのは、どうでも他の選手はどうでもいいっていう感じなんだけれども、まあ、そのモクスリーに関しては、俺という大スターがいるから、まあまあ、今回出てこなかったのかもしれないけれども、まあ、スターの資質とか、力、スターのパワーということを考えれば、モクスリーは俺には少し近いんじゃないかなと思う、他の選手と比べて。だから、まあ、これはちょっと面白い、サプライズでもあって、それはいいんじゃないかと思う。ただ、まあ、彼だって、 やっぱり俺とはもう本当に雲泥の差なんだ。
Can we get a comment about your former stablemate now, advocating to chaos? Robbie.
Oh, Robbie?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's Robbie never felt like he really belonged. We tried to help him out, but he made his decision. If he wants to go and whatever it is, have his little friendship with Will, if that's more important to him, then you know, fine. But you know, I tried to give him benefit of the doubt. I think we all did. But that's something that we'll have to put on the back burner for now. You know, we've got this tournament right now, so that's at the forefront of my mind. But no, Robbie was going to get off easy. We're not going to think about that. But we'll have to come back to that a little bit later.
3 question. G 選手にとって IWGP ヘビー級王者としての2ヶ月間どういう時間でしたか
Can you share how was your days with the IWGP Championship belt for 2 months?
How were my days? It's the same as when I'm not with it. I don't just carry it around with me and go to parks and go play on playgrounds with it. What type of question is that?
チャンピオンベルトを持ってその2ヶ月間毎日公園に行ったり過ごしていたわけじゃないので、まあそういう質問は意味がないかな。
G1 クライマックス2回目ですけど、G1 も特別な意味の大会です。
Is it the G1? Is it a special tournament for you since you're going to be in this for the second time?
No, I just said that out there. I get some of his lost in translation. It hasn't got back to you. No, it's not special to me. I just made my point out there that it is a joke that I have to be in this tournament in the first place. You know, I haven't had my rematch from MSG. Tana comes back from a couple months out doing nothing whilst I'm working my ass off in Japan. He says he wants the belt, so now I have to go in and shut him up, and then I have to have a match with him. But I still beat him. So I prove myself in, and then Chris fucking Jericho comes in and just jumps to the front of the line, which I understand, but it still pisses me off that I am kept at the back of the line when really I'm at the front. So the fact I'm in this G1, no, it's not special to me. It's sickening that I have to go through this, I have to prove myself against all these other guys. I have to go through all these matches just to win what I already have, and that is the #1 contendership for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
まあさっきも言ったんだけれど何度もまあ言いたくはないんだけれども、今回そのまた G1 になるっていう G1 に入ったということで、それは全然特別なものではない、特別な感情はない。なぜかっていうと、なんで俺がここに入って、その試合をして IWGP の最終的なその権利の資格を取らなければいけないのかっていう、そこがもう本当に全く理解できない。でまあそれはちょっと本当に怒りを感じる部分だ。なんで自分をG1 で証明、その権利者の、権利があるっていうことを G1 を戦って証明しなければいけないのかっていうのはもう全く理解できない。
Yeah, last one for you, because these are shit.
この前の仙台大会で、まあ、高校選手にもう救われたんですけど、その試合後も救われたんですけど、高校選手の印象はそれで変わりました。
Did the incident that you Goto attacked you after the tournament, after the match in Sendai, change your impression about him?
Not overall, no. There's a little different of him. You know, the Goto of old would have walked down and just probably got in and slowly stood in front of me, did some hand gestures, and then that was it. But it was kind of impressive that he actually he came and tried to take what he wants and tries to actually make a statement, actually show a bit of fight for once in his miserable life and career. But overall, is it going to make a difference? No. No, like everybody, I'm miles ahead of Goto. I don't know how, I think I've been in 4 times now. There was a couple of 2 tag matches, there was the over-the-top 10-man we had, and then the singles match. And now I've got to do it again. So he is lucky that I'm 1 in this tournament, and that 2, the tournament is set up like this, So then he just happens to get another match with me. Because if it was just up to me and they were trying to put me in a match with Goto, I would not show up. There's no reason for me to have another match with Goto, so he's lucky.
まあ後藤選手に対する印象は変わってはないんだけども、あの時は別に自分の前に立って、まあその卑猥な、ジェスチャーというかそういうことをやってもよかったんだけれども、まあ彼が実際にまあその襲ってきたっていうこと、それはまあ彼としてはちゃんと自分の意思を表明してて、それはいいんじゃないかなと思う。でまあそのファイト精神というのはそこで感じた。ただまあその全体的な彼の印象というのは変わっていない。でこれまで4回、タッグチームとして2回、それからシングルスもやったんだけれども、まあ彼はその今回俺がここにいることで G1 で戦えるっていうことで、彼にとってはまあすごく幸運なラッキーなチャンスだと思う。ただまあ全体の印象は変わらない。
Someone at the back. You're the next buddy, don't worry.
Can you talk a little bit about Chase Owens and the role that he plays in helping you prepare for your tournament?
Damn, Chase has been getting better. He's made some waves this year. Finally, a good question. Not something I've already answered about 5 times, you two. Yeah, Chase has been doing good. Who he beat Juice earlier in the year. Came close for the belt. Beat Makabe recently. And came close again for the belt. So the way he's going is great. You know, so I'm assuming I haven't looked at all the what all the tag matches are, but I'm assuming he's with me. So no, I'm very happy about that. You know, Chase is he's been doing this longer than me. He's been doing it longer than a lot of guys, and he's often overlooked. So I'm happy he's going to be by my side for this. Yep.
How do you respond to those, not my words, that say Bullet Club has lost some luster since you took the lead role?
I understand what you mean and what they may mean. That's because the Bullet Club of old, where, you know, the elite Bullet Club, whatever you want to call it, with those guys, they pandered to the fans. They kissed their ass. They tried to give them everything that they wanted. Me, I'm the opposite. That's why it feels that way. You know, those guys try to act like they're best friends with everybody. I'm very clearly above all the other fans, and I show it because I already know it. So that's the difference. That's why it feels that way, is because the fans, they're not a part of this with me. I'm not doing this for them. I've said it a lot of times before. A lot of what I do it in spite of the fans. So that's the main difference there. And you know, it's a fair enough question, and appreciate the disclaimer that wasn't your words. But actually, hang on, on that same note, it depends how you look at it. Because then, like I said, I was the headline of a sold-out MSG show, and I'm with Bullet Club. So when you look at those facts, it's probably also not true. Anybody else? Orange shirt.
We saw you in Dallas a few years ago with your ROH excursion. Can you talk about your feelings coming back to the city after being gone for a few years?
There's no feelings, there's no emotional connection with me in the city. I forgot I'd even been here until you just said that. And to be honest, I can't remember what event that would have been. So, no, no emotional connection here.
Do you listen to any music to hype yourself up before a match, or what are some of your favorite bands?
I do, but anytime I get asked, I can never think of what I actually like listening to. And that's opening the doors into my personal life a little bit, so you guys don't need to be a part of that. Next question.
This will be the last question.
Your stablemate, Bad Luck Fale, is in the other block. Any expectations to potentially face him in finals, and is that something you guys have talked about?
We haven't talked about it yet. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that'd be great if we both got that All Bullet Club final. And it's the two of us, and then you know, the reason we got on is we think similarly. So if it got to that point, neither one of us would want to go out there and have a beat the shit out of each other. That's, you know, it's counterproductive for our goals. So I'm sure if that was the case, we would all have a meeting prior, decide what's the best way to go forward.
Thanks, Jay. You want to post for a couple photos for us? Why not? Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. All right, next up is going to be New Japan and Nexus TV broadcaster Kevin Kelly.
Nice. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Kevin.
All right, have a seat there. Thank you. Feel free to.
Okay. David McDonald.
Hi.
Question?
Kevin, being a true sports fan as you are, and the great history of pro wrestling in Dallas, what does it mean to you to be calling G1 in Dallas?
When I first came to Dallas, I was with WWE, and Dr. Tom Pritchard and I went over to the site of, and it was still standing at that point, the old Sportatorium. And he was explaining to me, like, as we stood outside in the middle of the night, that's how you got in, that's the entrance. And I had grown up basically watching Stars of World Class, you know, when I lived in Florida. So all of that history combined with all of New Japan's history and the greatest tournament of them all, you know, when you think about Dallas and you think about wrestling and you think about the Von Erich family and all the great stars of here, generation after generation, and now that New Japan gets to put their stamp on it, to me it's just the perfect scenario for wrestling fans that are my age, that remember those days, and the new younger generation of fans who only, you know, have seen they read the archives and they remember the history books, you know. But it's incredible to be at the main chair now. And, you know, Jim Ross, I loved working with him. I always had a great relationship with Jim. And I know that when he and I worked together, we had a lot of fun. We told some great stories. And I just look forward to doing the same thing. Just let the athletes do their thing and tell the stories. And that's pretty much it.
A lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling fans used to say that the only way to watch the show was in Japanese to get the authentic emotional experience. But from the fans that I talk to and the people that I hear from, I find that's been changing ever since you joined the commentary. Now a lot of people say they prefer to listen to it in English because you bring that emotion to the Gaijin fans outside of Japan. How do you respond to that?
Well, we try to enhance the story without getting in the way of it. We have to make the experience better for the audience. Otherwise, there's no benefit to us being there. And so we just try to add value to every show and give the fans. It's not it's not instead of. It's go back and watch it with Japanese, watch it with English, watch both. Because I enjoy listening to the shows back in Japanese. I enjoy it because it's fun. I enjoy listening. My favorite announced team is Hugo Savinovich and Carlos Cabrera from WWE for years. They were my favorite. And because they put, and I didn't understand, I understood very little of what they said, but I just got a different emotional connection to the product. And so it's just another way of telling the story, but relating to the English-speaking world and making sure that the fans understand who these athletes are, what makes them so special, what they're fighting for, and we hope that it helps help them become better fans.
Thank you.
For fans.
Thank you.
The Madison Square Garden show was the first non-WWE event in that building since 1960. Now New Japan is coming to the American Airlines Center, which has never hosted a non-WWE wrestling event in the history of the venue. What do you think that says about New Japan's ability to claim market share?
Well, I think that it says that there are New Japan wrestling fans all over the world, that there is a lot of market share to go around, and that there are a lot of wrestling fans with different tastes, and you're willing to eat at different restaurants. So to me, it's the same thing. It's still food, it's still wrestling, but it's a different style and a different flavor. When I grew up in Florida, And I grew up watching Championship Wrestling from Florida. That's all I had seen live. And then the WWF came to the West Palm Beach Auditorium that I had seen dozens of shows in. And I felt like I was cheating on my girlfriend when I was there. Like it was that, like I had such a loyalty to it. I felt awful. But now, it's so diverse, and that, you know, again, the choices that fans can make, they're at your fingertips. Any brand that you want to watch, any wrestling that you want to watch, streaming, gifts on Twitter, whatever, however you want to experience it. So there's a lot of market share to go around, and there are millions and millions of fans who watch just on Monday nights alone during the peak of the Attitude Era who don't watch wrestling anymore. Where did they go? Were they all taken up in the rapture? I think they're still around. They haven't been spoken to, and they haven't been found. And now most of those fans have children or have had children, might even have grandchildren now who could be new to wrestling. So each generation there's new markets to conquer, and being able to get there's no language barrier to New Japan Pro Wrestling. We can go anywhere in the world. In England, we just completed a tour in Australia, in America, in Japan, wherever there is wrestling fans, there can be New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yes, Jim.
Kevin, from broadcaster to broadcaster, how do you've done these tournaments, you've done Best Super Junior, New Japan Cup, and now the G1. How do you as a broadcaster prepare for a marathon like that? I compare it to, this is going to sound funny, Texas high school football, because you go possibly 16 weeks. Same with you, you're going all these nights with these tournaments. How do you prepare as a broadcaster?
I look at it as 19 stops along the road. There are 19 shows in this tournament, and I don't get too far ahead of myself. So a lot of times I've been asked, like, what matches are you looking forward to in this tournament? I'm really just focused on Saturday. I'm really just focused on Dallas. Now there's some ones that I kind of got my eye on, you know, like at the end of the road with Juice and Jon Moxley. I'd be interested to see what that's, but who knows what they're going to be like at the end of this tournament. That's the thing, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So the guys have to look at it like, I have 9 singles matches, and they take them one bite at a time. That's how you eat the elephant. And it's kind of my, feeling as a broadcaster, because of what happened in the previous event, that's going to affect the narrative on this most recent event. So, and it all starts tomorrow, so I've really got a clean sheet that I start with. A little bit of biographical information and some historical reference, and then the rest will sort of build upon itself as the nights of the tournament go on.
Time for just one more.
Yes.
Well, you just sort of mentioned it, but I just wanted to ask the question about tomorrow night in your commentary. Are you going to bring up the fact about the history here and the Mark Lorantz and the Bill Mercer, Joe Ranelli's, and those type of guys from back in the day that did so much of the commentary and ring announcing work here in Texas that brought world class to the forefront, where Seiji Sakaguchi and Inoki and Fujinami and those types from New Japan came over and wrestled on our big shows, Thanksgiving and Christmas nights here in Dallas.
No, when you look back, and I've got a Bill Mercer tip of the cap ready to go, because there's voices from your childhood that you remember. And that's what, we become music fans between the ages of 8 and 13, and those musical tastes that we got during that time, that stays with us through our whole lives. We might like new, different, current, whatever, but what's our fallback? It's the stuff that we liked when we were between the ages of 8 and 13. It's no different with wrestling. The age of fandom is that same time frame, and if you remember the voices from that time frame, that's what you're always going to like. So Bill Mercer to me is part and parcel with wrestling. So when you look at the history of Dallas and everything that has happened with the Von Erich family over the years and over the generations, and what could have been with David Von Erich, what could have been with Kevin and Kerry, what could have been, and how the Von Erich family legacy could have been written differently, how Gino Hernandez could have played a role in all of these things. It's the great what could have been. So we definitely will have a nods of the past tomorrow, but an intense focus on the greatest tournament in professional wrestling with 20 amazing athletes and an incredible main event with Tanahashi versus Okada, a dream match that fans have longed to see outside of Japan, and now you get to see it tomorrow night. So that's it. And with that, I thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, girls. All right, next up we'll have Will Ospreay.
I got. Hi guys.
Gotta leave the glasses on, I don't like making eye contact. So, how's everybody doing? We all good? Wonderful. That's work, I don't know. That's work. I guess.
You've said that your talent level exceeds and is, equal to any of the champions in New Japan in past interviews. And do you carry that perception into this G1 Climax that you're going to exceed or equal everybody else in it starting this weekend?
I said it out there, I don't plan on being the best, I plan on just doing my best, and my best is equaling quite a lot of people these days. And I don't know, I think my match quality just speaks for itself these days. I'm generally just trying my best. There's a lot of weight being put on my shoulders, I think, and a lot of expectation. I just generally want to do my best, and I generally do believe that I'm right where I belong with the heavyweights. I'm just trying to do my best to represent the junior heavyweights in the best I can.
Quick follow-up. Is the feud with Seth Rollins over now?
Yeah, it's not even a feud, it was just a bit of banter. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just a laugh. Even when I said it out there, it's just me having a laugh. Like, people just take everything so damn fucking seriously. Sorry for swearing, I'm just in a bad mood. So, at the end of it, it's just, I respect Seth, Tyler. I don't even know his real name. I respect him. He's like a great wrestler, great guy. And at the end of it, like, I wasn't offended by the bank account thing. I would love your bank account. Like, money is great, but it's not everything to me. Happiness is my main thing. And even though I sometimes struggle to find it, I'm happy when I'm inside a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring.
Thank you.
So you mentioned you're going to be in all 3 big singles tournaments this year. Is there anything about your conditioning or your wrestling that you've changed to prepare to do all those big singles matches?
I mean, I don't know. I just wrestle. Like, it's all just a part of a learning curve. Like, when I broke my ribs in October. Yeah, I broke my ribs in October, and I was out for 6 weeks, I think it was, and I was meant to be out longer, but I managed to just scrape by because I really wanted to make Wrestle Kingdom. I had no idea how much, like, I really wanted to make Wrestle Kingdom, so I did a lot of things, and I was just starting to barely make it. I'm still feeling the effects, but at the end of it, I feel like my wrestling now has changed in some ways. It's kind of a nice way of evolving, I guess. I'm not as flippy, I'm not as jumpy as I once was, because I feel like everyone hears Will Ospreay and just instantly thinks of that Ricochet match from back in 2016, and I've put on a lot of size since then. I've gained a lot of weight. I'm a lot fatter now as well. I can feel the love handles like urging out of this belt, but I think it's just the necessary changes to, I don't know, just compete with the heavyweights. And I don't know, I feel like people keep saying I've changed. I don't think I have. I still feel like I'm about to go down to Essex and do a backyard wrestling show. Do you know what I mean? So I still feel like Billy. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. In the past, I spoke with you. You said your love for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And any other kind of video game that you?
The Spider-Man one that they've just released is like the best video game of all time. Really? I don't care. I love it. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man.
Have you got a chance to see the new movie?
No, I haven't. I saw Endgame and I was like,
real good with it.
Dude, I was losing my effing mind. The moment that they were all standing there and he went, Avengers. Assemble. I just went, oh, this is the greatest. This is the best.
Follow-up question: have you put any kind of moves from video games into your repertoire?
Oh yeah, like loads.
What's some of your favorites?
I used to play like, do you remember the first ever Spider-Man game?
Yes.
Like, he was on like PS1 or something along those lines, and just every now and again you just see something that he would do. Right now I just can't think of any. I don't know, but I think video games are generally the idea behind my character, behind a lot of the things I do, especially the Assassin's Creed. The way that, like, free running was a huge part of my childhood, and I was always in London just climbing up on people's scaffoldings and jumping off and stuff, and I got in so much trouble for it. But I just remember my trainer Greg Burridge would always just say, like, you need to find something that you relate to, something that's different, and you need to be different to what everyone else is doing. And Assassin's Creed was the coolest thing at the time, and I still think it's like super cool. But yeah, and I just was like, oh, like, I do free running, I do the moves that this Ezio guy kind of does, so like maybe I'll stylize myself like him. And it was the first time I came out with that code in progress, and people would went, oh, Assassin's Creed, and I feel like people was like, oh, you better move like him. And I feel like it did, and the rest is history, I guess. Gentleman at the back.
Much is made about the physical toll G1 takes on a wrestler. Can you talk a little bit more about the mental, and how you prepare and how you get yourself up each and every night?
I do, because I need to, and it's not like anything about contracts. Because if I don't pick myself out of bed, then I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna stay there, and my head gets the better of me all the time. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Like you got the better of me. Like today, this morning, I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, give me a minute. There'll always be like one thing, and one thing that's tipped me over the edge. I don't like traveling. I don't like being away from home. And now I had to be an adult, and I've moved my entire life to Japan to try and take some type of responsibility, because I've always been, I've always been a kid. I've always been like that dumbass guy on Twitter. It's just like, oh God, what's Will said now? I've always been that guy. And recently now, I've had to be an adult, but I don't want to be. I've got to be an adult. I've got responsibilities now. I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got dogs to look after. I've got a missus to look after. I've got 2 parents at home, and like I'm helping pay their bills. I'm a 26-year-old man. Like, this isn't what 26-year-old people normally do. You know, everything's just been piled onto me at once. And yeah, I do stress out. I was in the New Japan Cup when I lost to Okada. That was genuine emotion that came out. Like, I just cried because it was one of the worst months of my entire effing life. And it was just because it was just like, I put everything in there. The wrestling ring is generally my meditation. It's the one place where there's nothing on the outside matters, and everything that matters to me is inside the wrestling ring. Like, I don't like public speaking. I don't like talking to any of you guys. I really don't. But then when I'm half naked, I'm just like in my sex pants. Like, I feel great. Do you know what I mean? It's such a weird world, but it's so weird how my anxiety and my depression just goes away the moment my music hits. And then the moment the bell rings, it comes back. And I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I was about to ask, why do you think that is? Do you just get lost in the moment? Do you just concentrate on what you need to accomplish? What happens?
I don't know. I really don't. I wish I could. I honestly wish I could. But there are just some nights I don't want to be Will Ospreay. I wish I was anyone else. I generally do. Because there's so much weight on my shoulders sometimes. I just crumble. I feel like I do anyway. I feel like I crumble. But it's just when I'm in the wrestling ring, I don't care. Like, maybe that's the reason behind this style that people are gonna. Maybe people think that this is a style that's gonna kill me, and then I'm just like, no, I'm fine. I feel invincible here. I feel strong, and this is the only time I can be strong. But I need to be strong because there are a lot of people going through the same shit that I'm going through, and I want to show them it's okay to be weak. It is okay to have those emotions. It's okay to cry, to feel alone, because I've picked myself out of bed, and I've got 10,000 people I've got to perform in front of, 1,000, 2,000, sometimes goes up to 40,000. And if I can pick myself out of bed to do it, everyone else can.
Just to follow up, one last, who do you lean on then in those moments?
My missus, she's great, it's fantastic, my mum and dad. I've got some friends, I've got a chat group called Ospreay and the Lackluster Juniors, because we just talk to each other. We're all going through some tough times. You never know what any pro wrestler's going through, because we're living life out of a bag, and we don't get to see our parents, we don't get to see our family all the time. So it does get hard. It gets real hard on me. I'm struggling, but I get through. I'm with her, and that picks me up every single effing day. Like I've got these, like the Japanese symbol is love there, and this ring's mine, that ring's hers. That gets me through. It doesn't come off until I wrestle, and it goes straight back on every single time. Helps me get through the day.
This will be the last question.
Oh God, I'll fight for it. Man.
So you said you would like to face Amazing Red on Twitter. So what would be your dream venue for that match?
Honestly, I think it would be best fitted in the Super J Cup. I think there's no better place for Amazing Red to reignite that spark. Admittedly, I know he wants to do it in the House of Glory, and I respect that. But it needs to be on a grander stage, and this is the stage that I hold very, very dear to my heart. This is the company that's put a roof over my head. This is a company that reignites the flame every single time. This reignites my love, and I know he's going through some tough times right now. That with the injury, and I know, just 15 minutes, and I can bring back that Amazing Red that we all grew up watching. Because I was Amazing Red versus Low Key at NWA TNA was one of the first like indie matches I watched, and I was just like, God, whoever this Amazing Red is, busting out infrareds off the top rope, code reds, and doing like Jackie Chan stuff. I was just like, this is a guy. And then just it would always be like, he is and he's gone, and he's back and he's gone, and he's back and he's gone. I know in my heart of hearts, just one match, Will Ospreay versus Amazing Red, I can bring that man back. I can bring his spark back. I know I can. And I know he knows that I can as well, because he's doing these little videos and he wants to get back in the ring. I know he does. I know I can bring him back. Yeah. Q1's going to be fun. I'll do my absolute best, guys. I promise.
Thank you, Will.
Yeah, what type of pose? Anything you want to do right here?
The shirt is so creased up because I didn't tell me it was going to be an 40-minute bus ride. I ironed it and everything. Huh?
There's some video game bars here.
Video game bars?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
That's a thing.
Hey, I just
There's one in Arlington, yeah.
tuck myself into bed and just like all Rivalry and just a bit of pink, you know.
Yeah,
I'll go golf shit later, but it's about, yeah. All right, guys, thanks for that.
Thank you, Will.
Will, thank you.
Take care, man.
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will. That's probably your best time.
Is that it?
No, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more. I hope so. Yeah. And Liger's gonna be a little bit later because he's in, so they're doing the meet and greets in 2 waves. So the first wave guys are, when they're done, will make their way over here. So, and I believe Liger should be a part of that.
Do we have a short break of sorts?
I think so, just until they bring the next person. I just saw him tweeting that he had to go to the bathroom, so I said, go. This will maybe turn off the discard on it. Reese, you've got quite a following, everyone's replying to your tweets.
When you had Jay retweet that one.
Oh, did he? Oh, that was fantastic. They do. Well, most people seem to be agreeing. That's what I'm saying anyway.
You're fine.
Yes.
But that's also
He adapted it to Twitter.
It was the title of that ball. Did they film Chris Masters
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Joey was going to jump out of his chair and come get me. Oh, you're feeling pretty brave.
No, he doesn't like us.
No.
It's not a character.
Do you want me to, pictures and stuff you want to take out?
I mean, that'd be great, yeah.
Select stuff in there.
Thank you. You're gonna good stuff. He might have a cover for me, but it doesn't hurt to have it. tonight? Is that what it's what are the ones around? Is there a one-up bar or is it?
Is there a beercade?
Barcade?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Cybercade. One is Cybercade.
Isn't Kung Fu still here?
Yeah, Kung Fu still
Kung Fu.
exists.
Kung Fu
Arcade
one?
still exists.
And they all serve beer.
They're based in.
Yeah, they serve beer and
So
food.
much
They
fun.
got big arcade
It's
games.
like
Old school arcade stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm in Pasadena.
We did a.
But they,
We did a Texas.
here we go. All right, here comes Zach Sabre. And the fine members of the media here would like to ask you a few questions. Okay. Call on whoever.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yes, young man.
Do you think there's anyone in this year's G1 who you can't submit?
Absolutely not. I think it's to be very interesting climbing around Farley and Archer. But there must be some sort of ancient proverb: the longer the limb, the easier the submission. I don't know. You can quote me on that one.
Thank you.
Yes.
Piggybacking off what he just said about Fale, do you feel like you might have poked the bear a little bit tonight?
Probably I might just end up dead. Yeah.
Is there any fear going into that match with him now?
Well, I mean, if he kills me, I think he'll be over quite quickly, won't it? So I can't imagine I have too much time to dwell on it. No, I mean, I've been fighting big boy heavyweights since I was 16. So yeah, I think the time to be scared is long gone, luckily. Yeah, should be interesting. Yeah.
Do you ever get in trouble for some of the more socialist stuff you say in these press conferences? And what are some of your favorite bands?
Good. No, I think for the most part, everything I say in Japan sort of goes over everyone's heads. So I think sort of my plans to nationalise New Japan haven't quite been recognised just yet. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And so my favourite, well, Idol's my favourite band in the world right now. You should be able to watch it in America. The Glastonbury performance that they did last week is like one I know just felt special, which is sort of rare when you're watching like a first time Glastonbury appearance.
Do you listen to any music when you train? Or
Yeah, it varies. I probably listen to guitar stuff just when I'm traveling. Like I like sort of more left field experimental sort of dance music or techno, I guess. So I generally listen to that or grime in the gym. Like Skepta's record was really good. Dave and AJ Chasey put out some really good albums. Like Grime's never been better in the UK. Fontaine's DC, that's one of the best sort of punk records of the year. Black Midi as well. Yeah, one of the benefits of being in limbo travelling is that I've loads of time to listen to records. Yeah.
How important is it for you to main event the World Quest event this summer?
Yeah, it's the only priority for me right now. To be honest, it's more important than G1. Sort of, I debuted in 2004 when sort of it was a regular occurrence to wrestle in front of 5 people in a working men's club. I guess the equivalent of a, what do you call it here? Like a Legion Hall or something? Yeah. And then it wasn't that long ago that a promoter told us we better, get it together because we got a sold out crowd of 150 people, so you better put a shift in. So yeah, to be in the copper box in the Olympic Park, there was a lot of sort of criticism, well, I mean usually with sort of the Olympics, but I think to be able to do sort of first big professional wrestling event for New Japan in England, in East London, where I'm living right now, where I could technically walk, I mean, it's very convenient for me. Also, I think it's very important for the British wrestling scene.
In your own words, how would you describe your style of wrestling, and how does it compare to what American fans might be used to seeing?
Are you familiar with the architecture of socialist realism? So essentially, that's how I describe my style. Sure, next.
You mentioned, so you're kind of one of the faces of British wrestling, and it seems like it's changing with like a performance center in the UK now. What do you think about the state of British wrestling right now?
I think it's never been stronger. I think people sort of think that it goes cyclical. But yeah, there's never been, I mean, there is a plethora of people in the UK making a full-time movement from British wrestling, where sort of a decade ago that wasn't possible at all. you know, I think WWE opening a performance centre, NXT UK just gives more exposure and more sort of validation. But obviously, I think moving forward after Royal Quest, I've been saying Royal Quest out loud, which is after the event at the Copper Box on August 31st, hopefully it will sort of give New Japan an indication of just how important the British wrestling scene is. And obviously I'd love to start a dojo there at some point. Oh, yep.
Bit of a two-parter. What is your relationship with the guys in Suzuki been? Like, what does it mean for you to be a part of that group?
I can't imagine not being, you know, in any other group now, which in my nowadays would have seemed like I was sent to hell or purgatory. But yeah, I get on great with the guys. Kanemaru, I mean, I met in the UK in 2008 when I had a vastly bigger haircut and still the same size chin. And then, yeah, Taichi's one of my closest friends now. My liver, I don't think, is overly happy with our friendship. And then obviously being in, you know, getting to watch Suzuki sort of firsthand has been, yeah, it's been one of the best experiences. Sort of, I feel like my career has been sort of chaptered by sort of the more experienced wrestlers that I get to learn from. So sort of I feel like my time with Ogawa in Noah, sort of when that comes to end, sort of I've got a new sort of influence on me now, which I presume is bad for society, but it's great for me. Yeah.
Last year you had said once you won the G1 that you were going to forego getting your title shot in the Tokyo Dome and you'd rather do it in England. Is that still part of your goal this year?
Yeah, I don't really care about baseball, so the Tokyo Dome means nothing to me. I'd much rather do it in the UK where I can just get on the train for 2 stops, or if I'm feeling very sort of energised, I can walk there. No, like I'm proud to be part of New Japan. It was the only goal that I set, you know, properly when I was 14 years old. I told my career guidance counsellor, and she rightfully thought I was a maniac. But I eventually proved her wrong. And yeah, sort of simultaneous. I want to be part of New Japan for the rest of my career, but I'm still, you know, at my core a British wrestler. So my focus is to put as much spotlight on the scene and continue growing it. So I think I can do that better with the big title match in England and sort of in the Tokyo Dome. It's just too big.
You mentioned the British scene several times in the UK wrestling scene, and last month we were all shocked by the passing of Lionheart. Can you give us some thoughts on that and how that has rippled through the scene there?
Yeah, I was in Japan when I found out, so yeah, it was a hard month because Aoki passed away as well. I can't proclaim to be the closest person to Adrian, but he was someone that any time I was at a show, I thoroughly enjoyed being around. And I got to wrestle him a few times, but I mean, he was just sort of instrumental to the Scottish scene. And I think, you know, especially at a period where it was growing and not a lot of people were sort of perceived to be stars, Lionheart carried himself really well. So yeah, I'm sort of most devastated for my friends that were really close to him. But obviously the outpour, I think it's always it's sad when it takes something like that, but I think it's apparent sort of the impact he had on the scene. Yeah, that's sad to miss his future.
Thank you.
Zach, it's Emilio Sparks from
Oh,
Wrestle
hello,
Round.
mate.
What's up,
How
bro?
you doing?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, good, thank
So
you.
you talked about some grime hip hop.
Yeah.
What are you doing New York wise too? Because I remember, you know, you and me had some really interesting conversations in Brooklyn about some hip hop. And when you were rolling and doing jiu-jitsu, what were you listening to specifically?
Yeah, so that was when I was training at Williamsburg MMA. So I left New York at the end of 2017. I know, like, I try to keep up with grime as much as possible. Like Logan Sama has a really good playlist on Spotify. So yeah, I don't know, you can give his recommendations for East Coast hip hop.
I got you, I'll tweet you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier on in the press conference before that your entire goal was to bring British wrestling to a grander stage. Who would you determine to be like the best opportunity to do that, to bring your style, the British style of submission and grappling to a worldwide stage?
Well, that'd be me, right? Yeah.
Assuming you can't wrestle yourself.
Well, I know it's not just obviously specific to British wrestlers like Tim Thatcher, John Gresham are both incredible technical wrestlers that completely admire and sort of promote the British style in in sort of great honour. Hideki Suzuki, obviously trained by Buddy Robinson. So I don't know. It's a bit obtuse because my entire sort of motivation is entwined with the British style and sort of hopefully doing it in my own way. Like I think obviously Wilder Sport got taken off TV in the 80s and it would have progressed. So it doesn't really interest me to sort of emulate like a past era. I want to sort of progress it in my own way.
Pun intended.
Pun intended, yeah.
Second question. We've seen a lot of UK wrestlers start to come to Japan. Drew Parker, Chris Brooks, Chris Ridgway.
Yeah, there's bloody loads of them now.
Yeah. Is there anyone else on the UK scene, maybe like the OJMO, people like that, who you see coming to Japan soon?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's never been more opportunities. I think it's incredible. Like when I first went to Noah, like Doug Williams had been there before. Pac was in Dragon Gate. And then, that was kind of it. Haskins did a couple of tours of Dragon Gate, but for there to be a wrestler in almost every major company, and obviously there's a lot of British girls that began stardom as well, and they've been doing really well. I mean, Peace, killing it. I mean, I'm obviously incredibly biased, so my focus would be, I want to get some of the English boys or some of the British boys into the New Japan Dojo. It's a focus. Gabe Kidd's going to be going to the LA Dojo. He was someone that made an immediate impression on me the first time I wrestled, and he's about 40 years younger than me, which is incredibly depressing. I want to sort of start moving forward to getting the British boys into the New Japan Dojo. I think that would be really good.
Thank you. That's all we have time for with that. But we pose for a few photos of your bill.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we'll be from the fan that's made photos. No, this is things like a good day sheet. Time of endearment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
All right, next up we're going to have Juice Robinson. Some kind of needs problem.
I'm just making sure they know what's particularly. You doing okay here?
Sean, can you listen? Sean, I gotta show you. You get a lamp here as well.
We're
Hashtag G129.
One of about 4 I've used.
I'm using G1 Climax 29.
I use G129 and G1 Dallas.
Use all of them. You've got 280 characters now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Tag me in. Both of them, they're semi-split. They try not to let them feed too much. That's my PR. Remember to tweet everything. All right, here comes Juicer up and everybody.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty incredible.
What's up, everybody?
Juice.
Juice.
All right, my members of the meeting are like to ask you a few questions. Good, how are you? So feel free to call on whoever you like.
Go ahead. Is this the sucker on?
Yes, it is. We're live.
Juice, you're looking a little bit less flamboyant than usual, so I have to ask, why did you lose the dreads?
Well, you know, it was just time for a change, and I felt like the dreads were starting to hold back. You know, what I want to show people right now, and I think the dreads that was the last remaining bit of CJ Parker. I think that was attached to me, so it was time for me to go. I feel great now, by the way. A new woman. Go ahead.
Recently there was news of your departure from Ring of Honor, and you were heading the Lifeblood stable. Do you want to comment on that at all?
I really don't know where that came from. I know I'm moving to Tokyo, and my schedule here is insane. I never told anyone that I was never going to do Ring of Honor ever again. I'm sure I'll be there. I don't know when though, but yeah, we're in the dog days right now, the G1, and before you know it, it's World Tag League, and it's only going to get busier and busier as far as just New Japan dates go, so I don't know, I'm only one man, so I'm sure I'll be there again.
As a follow-up, what's it been like working with such an eclectic group of people?
Well,
In
those guys
Lifeblood?
are all my friends as far as Lifeblood.
Right.
I mean, yeah, Bandito, he was just over here for the Super Junior, you know, he's the sweetest boy of all time.
Very handsome, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Incredible.
I tell him all the time, stop wearing a mask. I know why Bushi wears one, but you don't need one. Yeah, and then Haskins and Hot Sauce, we're all pretty good buddies, so it's not, you know, it's really fun, actually. It's not really that big of a deal.
Since you already mentioned your history as CJ, does it bother you personally that both figuratively and literally, Jon Moxley came to New Japan and it seems like he's trying to take everything that was yours?
No, that doesn't bother me. Ask your question again. You know, what actually, the kind of stuff that bothers me is just constantly answering questions about CJ Parker. That's kind of more what gets on my nerves than
Right.
A guy coming here who I think, you know, just really loves wrestling and was upset where he was, and I can kind of relate, and he needed a fresh start, and he needed to, you know, be free, and now he is, so, yeah, he took my title, but he's in my block, and I'm going to see him in a few weeks, so there's my chance to get my title back, win that match, challenge him, and see where it goes from there.
Thank you.
Do you have a different game plan going to that match with Moxley than your previous encounter?
Yeah, I think I better try to out wrestle him. I don't think I can out throw him through a table or jump off. I'm not gonna jump off anything. You know, my ass is still pretty messed up actually. Yeah, I got scars on my face, so I think, you know, he won the brawl, so maybe I'll try to Ricky Steamboat arm drag my way to victory.
Last year, Juice, you had an injury with your hand, and as a result of that, didn't have quite the tournament you were hoping for. This year, it seems that you're coming in with better health. What are your expectations, and you know, how are you preparing for the tournament differently to have better outcome?
Well, I'm healthy, so I can, you know, kind of, I don't have to constantly be thinking about a broken bone, so just mentally it feels really good. This is the first year that I've really, you know, when you do it, the first year I did it, I was so oh my God, this is the G1, this is the first one. And then, you know, the second one I had the broken hand, so, you know, third time's a charm. I'm healthy and I know what to expect. And looking at the schedule, seems pretty wrestler friendly this year as far as the travel and the time off between shows, so should be great.
Yeah. Speaking back to your Jon Moxley match at the Best of Super Junior final, how do you feel that has prepared you better for this G1 going in? The sort of change in style that we saw in that match.
I mean, I always knew I could have matches like that. I think a lot of people knew that I could have matches like that. I think maybe some of the audience and maybe a lot of the media didn't know that I could have matches like that. I can have a lot of different kind of matches. That was one of them. So if I gotta go that route, the G1's a little different though. So I mean, that was a fight between Moxley and me. Most of the guys in my block, you know, it's gonna be just straight up wrestling, man. You start with Shingo. I got nothing against Shingo. I'm gonna see how hard I can hit him, and I'm gonna see how hard he can hit me. But there's really no reason for me to jump off a stage or throw him through a table or fight through the crowd. It's gonna be probably all done within the confines of the squared circle.
The G1 seems like a very grueling tournament, but I noticed on Instagram you guys, after your shows, tend to have a lot of fun, drinking some beers, eating some meat. What is the typical post-match ritual, and would you be able to talk about some of your favorite bands?
Yes. You're talking like during the G1 or during like the Best of the Super Juniors?
Is there a different?
Well, for me, I'm not a junior, so I have like, you know, I have to beat up Ren Narita and Shota Umino the next day, so I can drink into the wee hours of the morning. But you know, when you're in the G1, you try to do that sober, or at least me.
So just one.
Yeah, you know, maybe an oolong cha here and there. You know, just try to get a good meal and try to get to bed at a decent time. It's definitely not the party tour. Yeah, you don't want to be hungover or tired going into your big singles matches. Then you said what bands do I like?
Yeah.
Jeez. Man. Well, obviously I love the Beatles. I mean, who doesn't? John Butler Trio, do you know who they are? Avid Brothers. I've been listening to a lot of Dirty Heads and like a lot of, I don't know, I've just been listening to this beach vibes thing on my Spotify over and over again for a while. I got really into A Star Is Born, so I know most of them songs. I don't know, I don't really like freak out over like one band. I got about 17,000 bands that I like, you know, just like everybody.
Moxley had some pretty strong words regarding his time in WWE that he brought up when we talked to Jericho podcast. You know, you're kind of feuding with him right now. Did anything that he said during the podcast or in recent interviews resonate with you in your time in WWE?
I didn't hear his podcast with Jericho, and I haven't seen really any of his interviews besides the one right after our match. I think I kind of said it earlier. When you're working somewhere and you know you're not happy and you gotta leave to be happy, you know he did that. I can relate to it. So you know we're relatable in a lot of ways. He obviously did it from a very you know way higher of a level, but in the same way I kind of did the same thing. So I think that's pretty cool.
We got time for one more.
All right, then you can pick the person because I don't want to be the bad guy.
All right, Kevin.
Sorry, one more. What does oh, sorry, I forgot for a second. Wow, I forgot. Let's go to someone else. It's all in space.
So, with New Japan coming to America, obviously you're one of the most popular foreign talents in Japan, but it seems like maybe they haven't done quite enough to promote you here. This being a big show here, how important is it to you to have a good performance here, and what can they do differently to help you to spearhead their expansion into, you know, into America?
I haven't really noticed that, so I don't really know. I think that they, as a company, are giving me the same opportunities that they're giving everybody else, and you know, if a guy like Will Ospreay is a little more popular with people here, that's really fine by me. We go all over the world now, so it's starting not to matter as much. Anybody else? Good.
Maybe one more.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You both can go.
Juice, tomorrow night you're going to be wrestling 10 minutes from where the Sportatorium used to sit. How familiar are you with the legacy and the history of wrestling in the state of Texas, and especially world class?
Not so much. I know about the Dallas Sportatorium, of course, the Von Erichs. I know that place was a madhouse, but you know, I'm not a Texas wrestling aficionado by any means. But it is cool that we'll be pretty close to where that was, because that was one of the most famous places to wrestle ever, I would say. So yeah, it's cool.
So you ended up being pretty much the best case scenario in terms of betting on yourself and walking out and discovering who you wanted to be and coming to New Japan. Are you surprised more guys and girls haven't done that? And what would your advice be to someone who's sort of in the position that you were in, where you say, I don't want to be here, I'm going to go find myself elsewhere and find that success? What's this? Obviously, everyone's going to have a different life experience, but what's your advice to someone who is putting their body on the line and they're not happy with what they're getting out of their employer and looking to go elsewhere?
Yeah, get out of there. Don't work there if you're not having a good time. See, because like wrestling is such a fun thing, and if you're doing pro wrestling and the banner that you're doing it under makes you stay awake and not get sleep at night because it pisses you off, get the hell out of there and go work for somebody else. Unless money's your thing and you need to make a certain amount of whatever, I don't know. Money was never my thing in this. I wanted to do this because it was fun, and I think anybody that has that feeling should leave. And I think you've seen it a lot more lately. People are just like, wait, what? Why do I have to do this and be pissed off? You don't. So get on out and do your thing. Good?
That's great. Thanks, Rita. We have you posted just a couple photos. Maybe show off your socks too. Those are pretty sweet. What's that?
Thank you.
All right, next up we're going to have Kenta coming in, and I believe he's going to be doing it in English.
Oh, wow.
For part of it, you mean it's Kenta going to do it in English? Okay.
Just don't put sauce on your barbecue.
Yeah? I'm going to barbecue tonight. Tell me.
Texas barbecue does not.
You don't
put
add
sauce.
Don't add sauce.
You're not supposed to add sauce.
Are they going to offer it to me?
They'll offer it to you. And if you want it, you can, but if you are a true fan of Texas barbecue,
I haven't
you
been
don't put
authentic.
sauce.
This is my first time here. We're going to somewhere with a Ferris wheel. Is that anyone know
Ferris
about?
wheelers.
Is it good?
They said at our hotel it was.
All right.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
You will absolutely insult the people that work there if you take the sauce.
I won't have any sides. So
I'm
brisket.
biased, but the best barbecue is about 3 hours south.
Rodeo
Next time.
Goat is right next to Ferris Wheelers.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Rodeo goat.
Rodeo. It's burgers.
It's goat themed. They have goats on the walls everywhere.
Are they goat burgers or?
Well, no, not goat burgers, but they put goat cheese on the burger.
All right.
Picking up a lot of tips.
Yeah, but brisket, especially brisket, it's all about the smoke and the rub.
Not about the sauce, just about the rub.
That's right.
There you go.
And no beans in the chili, right?
No beans in the chili.
So many. There's too many rules. It's too many rules. It's too many rules.
If anyone in town needs vegan recommendations.
Yes.
I know the minority.
There is.
Are you? No. Hi. Right here.
Barbecue
Spiral Diner, Vegan Food House. Just up the road is a taco place called Down to Earth.
I saw Torchy's.
Torchy's has you can veganize Torchy's.
Yeah, Torchy's is awesome.
They have a mushroom one if you just say no cheese.
To those in Dallas, you're welcome.
There you go. You can smoke pretty much anything. It's not exclusive. Barbecue doesn't exclusively have to be meat for sure. I got a buddy who's this big smoker he got for his birthday last year. He'll throw. Basically, I'll come over and say, "Come over, we're smoking," and I look inside. It's like 8 times the meat, but then everything else you can think of is like super spicy. That's in there.
You get the right wood. Yeah. It will make you believe in a higher vegan.
Smoke them if you got them.
So there's no beans in the chili. It's the meat, the tomatoes,
Well,
onions.
and it's different. You can put different types of meat.
Just meat.
Just meat.
Just meat.
I mean, and there is vegan chili. There's just,
Any other things that I need to look out? Probably should know where this.
everything else. No, you're fine. Just,
Think
you
you
might
dibs.
splatter. You might splatter on you. It's okay.
You provide dips.
Not for barbecue. No.
Yeah.
But you got plenty of that. It's all right.
Sounds like a good place to eat.
Plenty of that. At least any barbecue place worth its salt.
This is finally the dry thing or the spray and wash.
There you go. Exactly.
Fantastic.
Hello, how you doing? I mean, that might be it. Deep down.
We're going to ask you a few questions. Please feel free to call on.
East Dallas. It's a cool neighborhood.
Kenta, how important is it to you to not just have a good performance in G1, but to show everybody that you're often imitated, never duplicated, that you really are the best at professional wrestling?
I was not being able to wrestle as I really wanted the last few years. So the most important thing is to be really myself.
Arigato.
So in this G1, you're going to have a lot of first-time matchups. Is there one opponent that you're really excited about facing?
It's difficult to pick one guy, so yeah, I haven't had much, most of people, so yeah, I know it's terrible answer, you know, but you know, but yeah, Okada is a, you know, IWGP champ, and then Tanahashi is won the last year, so yeah, but everybody, I'm excited to have much everybody. Yeah.
And how important would it be for your legacy to win the IWGP title?
Well, you know, as you know, I haven't had a good result last few years, so. But you know, I'm not done yet. I want to get result. You know, the G1, IWGP. I want some title. You know.
Will we see the go to sleep in the G1? And what are some of your favorite things?
I will. Go to sleep for sure.
And any music that you enjoy listening to? Do you listen to music?
Music?
Yeah. Do you like any favorites?
Oh, just question?
Yeah.
You know, before I love hip hop or R&B, something like that, but now I have been living in the States for about 5 years, so I always listen Japanese music. Yeah.
Now that you wrestled in both the United States and Japan, what are some of the differences in style that you've noticed? Like, and how is it transitioned into your work as a wrestler?
My work. I think I need to be like the same. It's not different. Even States or Japan, I need to be like me, you know. So I need to be myself. Yeah, this is important, I think.
Did you feel handcuffed when you were not you in the other place?
You know, I couldn't be myself last few years, so I'm so excited to be myself tomorrow, you know. I want to show, like I said, I came to New Japan to show who I am. So, you know, tomorrow night, I want to be myself.
Your first opponent will be Ibushi. Do you have a set strategy going into a match with a striker like him?
Yeah, he's a good striker, but also I am. So, you know, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. But I think he's the best opponent to show who I am. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Thank you.
Did you know you were going to New Japan when you left WWE? And did you ever consider going back to Pro Wrestling Noah?
It's tough to say, but like I said, I want to show who I am to the world. So now, like I said, New Japan is like it's going to be the worldwide. So that's why I choose New Japan Pro Wrestling. So yeah, after I left WWE, I consider to go New Japan. Yeah, also Noah too, but yeah.
You said many times that you want to show the world Kenta's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
For people who are unfamiliar, what does that mean to you? What is your pro wrestling?
Please see tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain the word, you know, just I show you. That's
Yes, so Shibata introduced you to new fans in Dominion. Can you talk about your relationship with him, and are we going to see you guys on screen together moving forward?
Our relationship?
Yeah.
You talk about our relationship? He always make me drunk. That's our relationship. Yeah, just kidding. We always fight. We never have much against, but we work together for a long time. So not only in the ring, out of the ring, we're really good friends. So yeah, tomorrow he's being in Dallas, so this is great to me.
This will be the last question.
You got to have a fresh start. You got to start over in NXT, and now you're getting to go back home to Japan, but you're starting somewhere new. How does that feel for you to get a new start in a new company in your home?
I feel great, you know. Like I said, I'm so excited to be a part of G1 Climax. So, and I can't wait to be myself. You know, it's great now. I feel great. I feel great to be a New Japan person right now.
Is it emotional for you to be there?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have you posed for a few photos?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kenta.
Next up, we're going to have Ichi.
Ooh, all right.
That's great.
Yeah. I know I got some ribs and chicken, some hot dogs. I'm like, now I'm going to someone say turkey. I'm like, I don't know some Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A would be right now.
Smoke all the meats.
Get a rack for everybody.
Smoke them if you got them.
Smoke all the meats.
Oh, yeah. How many about 60 or 6 on there?
Ooh, nice.
Oh, yeah. That is the size of that measured in cows, like how many you could chop up and put in there?
Just throw a whole cow in.
It's 12 to 15 pounds, so go from there.
Maybe a 2 cow smoker that you've got there.
Easily. It doubles as a storm shelter.
There you go. Is that you said it was a Boy Scout project?
Yeah, for Boy Scouts.
Crazy picture. It's pretty cool. It's insane.
Ishii, are you the hardest hitting wrestler, not just in New Japan, but in this G1 Climax?
この G1 で新選手が、一番こう打撃の強い選手でしょうかという質問です。
それは見てる人が判断してもらえる。
It's up to you. It's up to you to. It's up to viewers to decide.
Thank you.
Ishii, which opponent in this G1 are you most looking forward to facing?
この G1 で誰と対戦することを一番楽しみにしていますか？
そういう誰というのはないですね。みんな全員ぶっ潰しに行くっていう、そういう気持ちしかない。こいつを倒すとかそういうのは全員ぶっ潰しに行く。
Not really a specific one, but we are. I mean, I'm going to smash.
You're known as a very tough wrestler. Do you have advice for other wrestlers and people in general to become tougher?
石井選手は、すごくタフな選手として知られていますけれども、他のレスラーやまた一般の人々にタフになることについて何かアドバイスはありますか？我慢。Patience.
How does the G1 Climax airing tomorrow on Access TV live in the United States as well as over in Japan change your excitement and your anticipation for the opening night of the tournament? How does it change it compared to previous years?
失礼しました。明日テレビでこう G1 の開幕戦やダラスの開幕戦が、テレビで生中継されます。それは、これまでの G1 と比べて、そしてアメリカで全土で見れる、そして、ワールドもあるので全世界でそれを見れるわけですけども、どうこれまでと比べて、お気持ちに変わりがというか、気持ちはその皆さんにすぐ見てもらえるということとして違いはありますでしょうか？
自分は昔から小さい会場だろうが大きい会場だろうが、何人見てようが、自分の試合をするだけっていうだけなので、それはあまり変わらないです。
I've been like this, whether the venue is small or big, or it's been broadcasted live or not, I'll do my best. So there's no change.
Next question. Jeremy, go ahead.
Ishii, what do you think about your popularity in the United States?
ご自身のはアメリカで人気だと思いますか？
よくわからないですね。
He's saying he doesn't know, but sorry, about you were asking provided that he's famous, right?
He's very popular with the U.S. fans. How does he feel about that?
Okay, okay, sorry. すみません、ちょっと僕が間違えました。とても石井選手は人気ですと。それについてどう思いますか？
まあ、特に声援をもらおうが、ブーイングをもらおうが、自分の、これもそうだ、自分の幸せだっていうことなんで、そこまではあんまり考えてないですね。
So whether cheered or booed, it doesn't change any. Or so what I do is to do my best. So I don't really care.
Your style is reminiscent of Riki Choshu, and as strong style became popular in Japan, do you feel now that you guys, since the company is expanding west, do you feel that the strong style is taking a backseat to a more Western style of professional wrestling in terms of popularity within New Japan?
Are you asking the strong style is becoming westernized or?
Yes. Yeah, it's changing. Yes. I'm asking that more westernized.
まあ、ご自身のスタイルは私から見て、長州さんのスタイルに似てると思うんですけども、まあ、新日本プロレスが人気になることによって、でどんどんこう、まあ、欧米に広がっていってるんですけど、それによってストロングスタイルが変わっていってる。
まあ、俺自身が何がストロングスタイルかっていうのは分からないし、俺は自分がストロングスタイルだと思ってないし、それはちょっとね、変わる何か変わるかな。人気がなっていることによって、日本であったストロングスタイルがどんどんこう、西洋化するという思いがあるんです。ちょっと何がストロングスタイルか俺は分からないので、ちょっと分からないです。
I don't really know what is strong style, so I don't know.
AKA they beat the shit out of you, but alright.
You seem in the ring and outside of the ring, you're very soft-spoken, very quiet. It's hard for us to know a lot about you. What is important to you in wrestling? What's important to your legacy?
What do you mean by legacy?
His career. What is important to him when he's done with his career to accomplish?
Okay. 石井選手が、あまりこう多く語らない選手だと思うんですが、ご自身がリングの中でもリングの外でも大事にされる、プロレスを通して大事にされていること、あとはこうご自身のキャリアの中で大事にしている新しいことがありますでしょうか？プロレス、そうですね、プロレスに出ます。リングの中で試合があるとしても、はい。もしそれ以外でもリングの試合があると
試合ではやっぱ相手もそうですけども、やっぱ自分に負けないことですからね。自分自身に負けたらもう負け
なんで。In the ring, what I really what is important for me is not to lose by the opponent, also by myself. If I lose by myself, that's gonna be the end.
Last year, you had an all-time tournament performance in many people's opinions, but you still didn't win the tournament and didn't win your IWGP challenge. What are you doing differently this year to ensure that you win the tournament?
Ensuring
To make sure.
Yeah, to win the IWGP or
To win the tournament.
その去年とてもいいパフォーマンスされていました。でそれはいろんな人が言ってますけれども、ただそれでも
さっき記者会見でも言ったように、結果、内容、インパクト、この3つ、すべて出せるように、毎試合ですね。これをG1 に関わらずずっとやってきたんですけど、まあ、今回は特に、この3つをですね、掲げながら挑んでいきたいと思っています。
Like I said in the press conference, three things are important: the result, and what I can do in the ring. So like content, and last one is impact. So not only for the G1, but I think for the pro wrestling in my pro wrestling, those three are really important.
One more question.
Whether you're in the first match of the night or the last match of the night, people often say you have the best match of the night. What gives you that spark to always give that performance?
最初の試合だろうとも最後の試合だろうとも人々は新選手の試合がその大会のベストマッチということがあります。で、そういうなんていうかすごく人々にスパークするんですけど、力はインパクトが出るような試合をすることに対してどう思われますか？ So I asking, he's doing really good match, right? So I asking about him, analyzing him.
About his motivation to always be the best, no matter where he is on the card.
ああ、OK。どのカードのどの位置に試合の順番がどこであっても、いい試合をするという、どういうふうにモチベーションを持っていますか？最初の頃の試合であっても、いい試合をするとどうモチベーションを持っていますか？
メインだからこういう試合をしようとか、セミだからこういう試合をしようとかっていう意識は全くないんで、ただ目の前の相手を潰しに行くっていう気持ちしかないんで、だから別に試合順は関係ない。
So it doesn't really matter where I am placed in first or at the end. What I always think what I only think is to just smash the opponent. So that's it.
Arigato.
That's it for questions.
Thank you. Who's up next, Sean?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
I will find out shortly. Or when they walk in. But here's the thing, I have an advantage. I'm facing this way. So I have the window here.
It's a nice surprise.
I think they're checking to see if the first game is done yet.
Sean, are we getting Lance?
Potentially, yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Better put somebody out here to flip the table back over if he comes in.
Oh, no, you have to sit. You chose to sit up front.
He's getting too close to the table now.
Now you're up here. That's okay, though.
Yeah, anybody in the first 2 rows is in range to be hit.
Yeah. Table
Fully charged.
I don't know. I just am getting really hungry. How much longer I can stay here?
You've got to go. You got to go. I didn't expect you to stay. I hope you're not bored out of here.
I'm good.
Okay.
So is there a bed?
It's outside and down the hallway.
An extra iPhone charger?
I've got.
You're plugged in yours?
Yeah.
You need the cord.
Oh, I don't know. Do you have a spare cord, maybe?
I don't.
Oh. Anybody got a spare USB cord?
There's a spots for the people about moving seats at a press conference.
No worries, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I bought this thing before we came. Cause,
Yeah, I should have brought mine, but...
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we're 2 person PR to keep it, PR department won't work. Okay. Yeah, so. New Japan, Wow Women Wrestling, XP Fights, LFA, Dan Rather. Now that is a string budget, they're not flying me in the pit for that. I do that from home. Highlights and stuff. Oh, for sure, I will. Yeah, we're in Louisiana at the, I don't know when next week, LFA's done a bunch of shows at the Golden Horseshoe. Yes. XFC. We used, or CFA, we used to work with XFC, they kind of disappeared and then talked about it. So, CFA,
Oh, yeah, okay.
In 10 minutes? Oh, so we have a break. It is. All right. Word from the top. Tanahashi's coming, it's going to be about 10 minutes, so if anyone wants to run to the restroom, take a break, now is your best opportunity. Oh, they all had you on my list.